I like how they're like HTTYD.
Like even they know that their title is too long.
Yeah, it looks like a website. HTTYD, the hidden world. Ooh, what website is this? Deploys.
Yeah, it does sound pretty sketch when you say it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does.
All right. Are we rolling, Graham?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to New Script on the Block for another episode of Before the Scene. We are going to be doing How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World. With me today is, as always, Alyssa, Nero, and Graham. Say hello.
Hey, guys.
Sup?
Hi.
Sup, yo?
Sorry.
Yo, yo, yo.
All right.
It's your boy.
Oh, gosh.
Nero's going to read narration. Who else is reading?
I mean, I'll read for
Well,
Hiccup.
there's really... Yeah, and then there's Astrid. Do you want to do Astrid, or do you want me to do Astrid, Alyssa?
I think you should do Astrid because I'm planning to snack while you guys read. So
What?
I don't want to.
You don't want to be part of this script? Isn't this your favorite movie?
I'm still gonna listen. That's why, Graham. I want to listen and enjoy.
Okay.
If I have to participate, it'll be different.
Let's ruin this for her. Let's ruin her favorite movie. The Great Waterfall.
I wouldn't say that this one is my favorite movie.
It's her favorite
Okay.
franchise.
Yeah, it's my favorite franchise. I like this movie though. Like I was surprised by how much I liked this movie. I was prepared to hate it.
Mm.
Were you though?
Oh, for sure. I thought that a third was not needed. I was like, man, why do they keep going? Like, you had it perfect the first time, and the second one was good, but I mean, why are we still going?
Because
Hey,
Hiccup
that's kinda
got a
how I
losing
felt
in her
about-
leg.
Man.
I quite enjoyed it. By the end of this movie, though, the end of the third installment, I feel like Hiccup looks like, oh God, who's that actor? He does...
From The Office?
Yes. Oh my God, Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With a beard,
Yeah.
so A Quiet Place.
A Quiet Place,
Mhm.
yeah.
That's crazy.
You think
All right.
there's going to be a fourth? I bet you there's going to be a fourth. I want to put money on that.
I'm pretty sure when the
I
first
think
one
they-
came out, they were contracted for 5.
Whoa.
Yeah, I was going to say they're probably working on the fourth one right now. Are you
In
hacking
quarantine,
in?
so
Are
it's
Ashley, are you hacking it? He's trying to get into DreamWorks database right now.
Well, all
Hold
I
on,
heard was
I'm
click, click,
figuring it out.
click. Yeah, that's all I heard was just clicking of the keyboard.
All right, I'm in.
Wow, that's quick.
Her
Let me guess,
password
they're doing a
was
spin-off.
Dragon. Their password was Rough Nut. That's my new favorite word now, or name.
You don't like Tough Nut?
I think Rough
Is
Nut
that a
sounds
name?
better.
Yeah, that's
Is that the
the other
sister?
Jim's name. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we can get started, I guess. So who's Hiccup?
I'm Hiccup.
Graham is Hiccup.
Oh snap, dude.
I don't know what I've
Um,
only seen the first movie, so you're gonna get what you're gonna get.
Oh.
Hey, in
I
the
think it's
third
perfect.
movie, Graham, Hiccup hiccups every time he talks.
Okay, I got you.
That's why he's called Hiccup. All right.
Sounds good.
All
right.
Okay, so I'll be Astrid, and Alyssa, you enjoy your snack.
I will. Thanks, guys.
All right. Whenever you're
Exterior open skies day.
Oh,
Sequence
what?
2020-01 Stormfly
Whoa,
tracks.
whoa. No. I was promised the voice.
Hold on. No, hold on. You didn't let me finish. Okay, you ready? I'm only reading the scene headings that way, all right?
By the way, guys, you can find the link to this script in the description, and we're starting on at the bottom of page 75.
Good job,
Thanks,
Graham.
Graham.
Graham is such a pro.
Okay, here we go. Stormfly flies over the open water, following her nose and shifting course every few seconds as she carries Astrid and Hiccup. There's nothing but open sky and ocean as far as the eye can see.
Where is she heading? Okay.
I spit out my food.
Okay, let me redo
I
that.
was actually gonna do it.
You make me so proud, Graham.
Where is she heading?
Hold on, I'm crying.
Astrid, why are
Okay.
you crying? Astrid's tears fall from the skies.
Okay. She's tracking something, aren't you, girl?
She pats Stormfly, who squawks back, focused, sniffing the air. Hiccup sighs.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that hidden world thing was on every page. I don't know why, but anyways.
HTTYD, the hidden world, 12:05:18, final deploys,
Thank you,
676.
Nero. That's what I was waiting for. There's nothing but miles and miles of...
Hiccup looks into the distance, suddenly silent. Astrid turns to see what he's looking at. They hurtle over crashing white caps toward what seems like nothing but a column of mist. A roar builds. Hiccup peers over Astrid's shoulder, baffled. They exchange looks. Stormfly suddenly pulls up, revealing a vast hole in the sea with thunderous waterfalls cascading inward. Hiccup and Astrid gawk, astounded, as Stormfly circles the epic otherworldly sight. A great volcanic caldera meeting at the surface of the sea. The remains of shipwrecks litter the lower tier, wedged in the fang-like rocks of the chasm.
A great waterfall.
At the end of the world.
Astrid meets his eyes. Suddenly, without warning, Stormfly dives into the caldera.
Ah!
Stormfly!
Hiccup wraps his arms around Astrid as they plummet uncontrolled. Cut to interior hidden world at King Island. Day. Sequence 2301, The Hidden World Part 2. They emerge through a curtain of falling water and into a vast steamy chamber beneath the ocean floor. Torrents basins of collected seawater spill into a seemingly bottomless chasm aglow with magma veins. Hiccup and Astrid gawk, bewildered at Stormfly sniffs the air and switches direction. HTTYD, The Hidden World, 12:05:18, final deploy 77. She flies them beneath a low overhang and into a tunnel. The darkness gives way to an otherworldly glow as the phosphorescent river beneath throws patterns of the tunnel walls.
Look!
Hiccup points at the shape of a bioluminescent sea shocker dragon swinging in the currents below them. Stormfly follows the river to its end, dropping off of a cliff and into a massive gallery of columns covered in bioluminescent fungi. Clusters of dragon eggs glow as Stormfly soars past. She too displays a bioluminescent pattern as though flying under black lights. Astrid and Hiccup are astounded. The starry ceiling above suddenly shifts and undulates as thousands of tiny fireworm dragons descend from the cavern ceiling and playfully chase Stormfly. Finally, the mushroom forest gives way to a third chamber, vast and glowing, with warm light carried from deep magma veins via great pillars of crystal. Gargantuan coral structures fan out in dramatic displays, growing mid-air in the damp, salty atmosphere. Here, thousands of dragons have gathered in an excitable hive of activity. Astrid and Hiccup tuck low in the saddle as Stormfly flies them closer to the epicenter of activity, King Island. To avoid detection, Astrid steers Stormfly toward a smaller formation at the shore of King Island, landing in the cover of a canopy of Goliath mushrooms. Hiccup and Astrid hop off and follow Stormfly as she sniffs the air and scampers up the steep moist terrain.
It really does exist.
Stonefly reaches a cliff and straightens, pointing her head like a hunting dog. Hiccup and Astrid crawl to the edge and gasp in unison. Rising from the gathered throngs of dragons, a great monument of crystal rises like a tower. From above, Toothless and Light Fury lead a procession of dragons through the air, zigging, zagging, and looping in a kind of aerial dance.
Toothless!
HTTYD, The Hidden World, 120518, Final Du Bois, 78. Astrid yanks him back.
Shh, you'll spook them.
Toothless and the Light Fury land majestically upon the peak of the Crystal Mountain. Dragons roar and flap their wings in adoration. In the crowd, even Drago's former bewildered beast pays his respects to the Alpha. Toothless spreads his wings and lets out a mighty roar.
Now that's a king.
No longer the clumsy amateur, Toothless throws his head back, clucking and mirroring the Light Fury in a strange yet beautiful ritual. He settles and nuzzles her gently, then looks out upon his constituents, noble as a lion with his pride. Below them, thousands of dragons lower their heads and bow. All the while, Hiccup watches quietly, visibly unsettled by the sight of Toothless so at home in this foreign world. Astrid notices. Her smile fades, replaced by a look of sympathy. She reaches out to comfort him.
We should go.
But before they can slip away, they hear a rumbling behind them. They turn apprehensively, only to find themselves face to face with a snarling Rumblehorn.
Oh no.
Oh no!
Hiccup raises his hand to try to calm the Rumblehorn, but Astrid grabs it and leaps from the cliff, taking Hiccup with her.
Stonefly!
The Rumblehorn roars, sending up a piercing alert. 1,000 dragon heads turn at once. Toothless is shocked to spot Hiccup and Astrid in the distance, fleeing for their lives. Toothless scrambles through the air in a panic, leaving the Light Fury confused. He roars at the pursuing dragons heading towards the intruders with bare teeth and glowing mouths. Some heed his command and fall back. HTTYD, The Hidden World, 120518, Final Du Bois, 79. Others are far ahead of Toothless and closing in. Hiccup and Astrid scramble over the ever-changing terrain, trying to outrun them.
Go, go!
Toothless races through the throng of aggressive dragons, commanding them to back down. He swoops in and plucks Hiccup and Astrid out of the onrush, carrying them up toward the cavern's ceiling.
I'm sorry, bud. I just...
Toothless barks back sharply and carries them into the distance. Far from the agitated crowd, Stormfly follows and reunited with Astrid. Close on. Oh Jesus. Hiccup's face, remorseful and pensive, as Toothless flies him away from the hidden world. Dissolve 2? Interior old
No,
Bork.
that's it. No. That's it.
Wow, Nero.
I mean,
That was an amazing performance.
My throat hurts.
Yeah, it should. That was fantastic. That was some of the best reading I think you've ever done, ever.
Thanks, Mom. I've been practicing.
Yeah, I mean, what's great is, like, not only did you read it in the voice the whole time, but on top of that, you, like, got everything right. I mean, there were some big words in there.
I know. I saw them, too. They were so scary. I can only read them if I'm doing a voice.
Yeah, that's
What's it say? Constituents?
You took on bioluminescence very well. I was proud. Yeah, it was good. Very good.
Bio what now?
Bioluminescence. You know,
Anyway.
I imagine voice acting on something like this is a lot of fun.
yeah, for sure.
Like playing it up like, you know, you're actually genuinely scared or excitable or something when you're just standing in a studio with a bunch of people watching you. Anyway, yeah, I quite enjoyed that. This was a good read. This is like reading a book.
Yeah. That's
Brought to
one
you
note
by
that I was
Audible.
actually gonna say is that this feels like it reads like a book.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of descriptiveness of the environment in this one.
You think they like tooth for tooth like matched like the visual?
I'd be willing to
'Cause
bet, yeah.
I don't remember,
I'm
but
pretty
we're gonna
sure.
find out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the text illustrates it so well that you really do, even without looking at it, get the idea.
Does the
Mhm.
storyboard happen before the script when it comes to an animated film? Is there a different process visually because of how things are? Does that
Well,
make sense? I'm just asking.
yeah. I mean, from what I've always understood, like the script and the storyboards kind of go hand in hand.
They
Like,
have to, right?
yeah. I don't know.
I
It could be
also
different with the different like studios. Like maybe they do the script first and then immediately after do the storyboard, or someone develops the storyboard and then from there they can develop, you know, the script in which they give to the actors to read from, and then also like all of the animation departments to like follow. I don't know. That's
so my understanding is that yeah, you are correct in that assumption that it depends on the studio and the specific team, like what the process is, because it's not actually the same for everyone. But I also from what I have heard, a lot of times, at least with shows, like an outline happens first, and then they will go in and do the boards, and then they'll write up the script. But obviously, as they're doing the boards, they're coming up with the contents of the script. But I don't know if that's how it works at DreamWorks. Who knows? We'll have to watch some featurettes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely very descriptive. Is all I'm taking from this.
I think it has to be, though.
Yeah. Which is appropriate. It's appropriate. Maybe our was Toy Story like this when you guys did it? Like description wise, like giant amounts of description?
not the scene that we've read.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which, again, if you saw the scene, it makes sense. Like, it is the story that's being told relies on the characters who are telling it. So,
To me,
and there's a lot of, like, repeating stuff.
To me, the way this is written, it makes me feel like this was written before the storyboards with the amount of description there is to let the storyboard artist kind of visualize it, or I don't know if the director wrote this. I feel like that's a question we ask every time, but
It is. It's a valid question.
It just makes me feel like this was written before the storyboards.
Is anyone doing a fact check on the writer?
Yeah.
I think that also or at least with animation, especially in a series, like, I think it's more likely to have a writing staff or team.
Like, I'm hoping, like, they're like, hold on, let me get my thoughts together. Like, when this was being written, and then the animation team's like, Jesus Christ, when it comes to like the detail and stuff. Like, there's corals now? Bioluminescent? Oh my god.
I'm sorry, you wanted to do what to the existing model for Stormfly?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Is this the only time she's ever been bioluminescent?
Yeah, it's the first time.
I think so, yeah. That's like in the second one when we see Hiccup's mom for the first time, and she like does that thing to Toothless, and his scales like open up. Like,
Jesus.
I could just imagine, like, in the script, like the animators are reading that, and they're like, you want us to do what now to Toothless?
You know that this is one of the few things we already have built, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and also, we want him to, like, make them open and close at will. Wait, what?
Oh, that's easy. That's just a couple of keyframes here and there. if Toothless was already built that way? Wouldn't that be crazy? They already
I mean,
knew that
like
they
they had
do
the
that.
foresight.
Yeah, maybe. Answer to the question, was this written and directed by the same person? Yes, it was. Dean DeBlois, or the name that Nero said at the
Appears
top
on
of
the
every.
Yeah.
Okay.
He directed and wrote it, but also Cressida Cowell, or Cowell. She's the author of the book series, so she's also credited as a writer.
This was a
Bro,
book
I didn't even know
before.
this was a book series.
Yeah, this is a book series.
What the fuck?
The director/writer, he's been on all of them, and that is not like, you know what I mean, like not super common.
I have a question, or just more like a thought.
Mhm.
It's kind of like we haven't really like read two different scripts that were written by the same person, huh? Not yet.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. No.
Oh man, we
I
could
just
read
wonder if that would.
The Last Jedi.
Oh gosh. Wait, why?
Is that
Because
the
we
guy
already
who
did Knives Out.
Knives Out? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah.
We could do that.
We just haven't done it yet, you know. I was just curious if we accidentally have done it already, but I don't think we have.
I would
I
be
don't
down
think
to
we
read
have.
another Greta Gerwig script. Her script was formatted in such a like nice, easy to read and follow way.
What
You
movie
said
was that?
Greta what now? Gerwig?
Greta Gerwig, she did Little Women and Lady Bird.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought Lady Bird
Oh, that
was
means
really good.
we can do Lady Bird.
Yeah, we haven't done Lady Bird, so maybe that. Stay tuned, folks. Maybe an upcoming episode.
Well, back to dragons. Okay.
Yeah, back
so
to How to Train Your Dragon.
is there anything else about the? Oh, well, hey, the sequence thing. What is that exactly? Ash, if you can answer that.
What do you mean?
For
Like what
each
part we're
after
seeing
each
in?
scene heading, there's like a sequence for those who are looking at the script at home.
Oh.
I mean, may I step in on that?
Go ahead.
Because I suspect, I mean, when you're building, even when Ashley is building animated projects, you're not always building the entirety of the video in one piece, right? Like sometimes you have to build a portion of it and then kind of cut them together in a separate application, correct?
Mhm.
So I think that that's likely the case here, is that they're breaking up different scenes to be done separately, and then they'll all be stitched together in a separate application at the end.
It also looks like it's by like environment, kind of how like in live action stuff, how it's like exterior, interior, that whole thing. So like anything that is happening in sequence 2301 is going to be considered the hidden world. That's one thing that I thought was really interesting. I keep saying environment, but that's not the word I want to use. What's the word I want to use?
Well, but I think it is, right? Like in terms of animation, I think likely what they're doing is because again, I've watched you build things, like if you're building an environment inside of a project file, it makes sense that they would have separate project files for each of the individual locations or environments that the characters are in.
Mm-hmm.
Correct? Because that makes it a little easier when you're building and when you're animating.
Yeah. What I'm trying to say is each of these sequences with the title of what the sequence is going to be called is kind of like their establishing scene. So
yeah, they have like little subheaders, like subtitles for that sequence.
Right. And yeah, and that's something that's, could be just the way that that DreamWorks does it. I don't remember seeing it in Toy Story, but then again, I don't know, Toy Story's script felt more like a live action script where it cut to reality, cut to imaginary scene, and
if you look at some of the writers on the staff for Toy Story 4 too, you can see why. Like, there are definitely writers on that staff that primarily come from live action film and television production.
I don't know if you've ever noticed, but like if you open up like a Blu-ray or a DVD and you kind of, even when you're trying to look at scenes, how it has like a title to what the scene is. I think that's also kind of what is happening here in the script.
This is like the chapter. It's like
yeah,
when you're going
like
to scene select.
Right, like these are the chapter names.
I think the sequence titles may be useful as file naming conventions, because when you're talking in an animation, like their team is so massive and they have so many people contributing to the same parts, and they're all working in the same or very similar project files and then having to submit the portion of work that they've done. So if anything, I think that this script is built with teamwork in mind.
Yeah.
That's cool. So. That's cool to see, like, on a script, like seeing those hints, and also, with that being said, like, it being like, we see like this little heading up top that I kept reading, the HTTYD, like it's saying that this is the final version, from my assumption, because it says final. This is fairly clean, like unlike some other final scripts that we read that had like errors and stuff. Not gonna say any names, but
just listen to our past
like the writing team.
Episodes.
The writing team is on the ball here.
Yeah.
Well, also though, something might be said to the fact that it is like an adaptation of a book series. You know, because we don't know the book series. Like, they could very well be plugging a lot of things in that could be direct references.
True. Graham, were you going to say something?
No, I was just saying that quality writing equals quality content.
True.
There's a lot of books.
I'm looking at them.
Like, specifically in the How to Train Your Dragon franchise?
Oh, no, just in general. There are a lot of books in the world. No. How to Train Your Dragon. There's a lot of How to Train Your Dragon books.
Interesting. So, yeah.
So in other words, this series could go on forever.
It looks like 11.
Oh, damn.
No, there's more than that. Well, they might be, like, combining, like, books 1 and 2. I don't know.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm definitely interested to see what happens after this one. I don't know if you guys have watched it, and I don't want to spoil the ending, but, I mean, I really just don't know where the hell they're going from here.
Yeah.
Was there no setup at the end of this?
There is a setup, I think.
There is a setup, but I feel like that setup is more so for a spin-off than it is for a sequel. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Alyssa, I'm gonna guess what the next movie is gonna be. All right?
Wait. Spoiler or spoiler-free? What's happening right now?
Spoiler-free.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. There's going to be a villain, right? And he's going to be hunting the dragons. And he's going to be like, where are the dragons? And then he goes and, messes with Hiccup. And he's like, show me where the dragons are, Hiccup. And that's going to be the next movie.
That was this movie.
It's going to happen again, Alyssa, that's what I'm saying.
So funny.
We're ready to watch
watch the scene.
Oh, yeah.
Just we read what was before the scene.
Let's get this done. Let's get it done.
All right.
Okay. Ready?
Yep.
Okay, bye, guys.
This podcast is brought to you by Arizona Studios. Arizona Studios, a full-service video content specialist. We're here to illuminate your message and compel your audience to take the right action. For more information, head to our website at arizonastudios.com and be sure to tune in for more content on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
So Alyssa still watching?
She's probably crying.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I've been talking to you guys for the past, probably 30 seconds before I realized, I'm muted.
Oh. Did you shed a
Happens to
tear?
the best of us.
Almost. I mean, look, it's beautiful, right? Oh,
Yeah, it is. Seeing it in the scene and then also reading like the whole like bioluminescent thing of like I could just imagine the lighting department just like ears pricking up of like fuck.
How long do you think all those lights took
Which
to
is a
render?
lot.
Start getting heartburn.
Yeah.
How long do you think all those lights took to render?
Oh god, probably I don't know. A long
It's hard
time,
to-
I'm sure.
It's hard to judge too because you got to think like these animation studios are the best of the best. Like they probably have massive render farms.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
something that for us could take, days of rendering for them might only take a couple hours or who knows.
A minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was
It's
very
hard
beautiful.
to compare. Man, this
Yeah,
is one of those. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go for it.
I was just gonna say this is one of those movies where it's like if you didn't watch it in the theater, you missed out because it's so. The experience of watching this movie on the big screen with the surround sound, like it completely amplifies the overall experience.
Cinema.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, with that being said, like I definitely was listening to the narration as I was watching.
Mhm.
I heard the voice, the narrator, talking about how things were to be seen.
Yes. Well, and just like the descriptions too of the narration of like, we see the sharp rocks at the beginning, and then we move into the bioluminescent part with the fungi and whatever, and then we get to the mushroom part, and then the King's Island, like the rock and all of that, and it's like, yeah, that's exactly what we read.
And well,
Exactly.
if anything, they added life to it, right? Like you can see there are like these giant stingrays that are in the water in the bioluminescent part, and you can see the eggs
You can see
that are lighting up. Yeah.
It's a good representation of what is like what we read, and then exactly what we're seeing.
Did you catch any sort of discrepancies?
I don't think so. I mean, it's hard to. I feel like with animation, it's hard to like really deviate from the script because it's like,
you're building it all from scratch.
Yeah, and you're telling the characters what to do by doing it. So it would be weird for an animator to be like, well, I did this because I thought it would be something that the character would do without actually like discussing it with the director. I feel like all of that is just.
I can't imagine it happening on such a like big expensive film as this and it being okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say it probably didn't go over too well if it did happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, this doesn't like something like this doesn't have the kind of fluidity that like a TV running series might have with their staff. But this also has a much bigger staff. Like if people don't follow the line or go in tow to what they've been provided by the admin staff, then shit could really fall apart.
Mhm.
Oh man, all the textures.
Toothless throws his head back, clucking and mirroring the light fury in a strange yet beautiful ritual. So I'm just like, when I read that, I imagined Toothless like literally throwing his head back like upside down, Like I've read it as silly, like imagined it as silly, but in the actual version, it's a little bit more elegant.
Yeah.
I was like, what's clucking? What does that sound like?
Yeah, I love the combination of animals that these dragons are designed after. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even some of them like insects.
The scene that I also was thinking about having us read was when Toothless tries to like woo the Light Fury for the first time.
Oh right.
And so there's a part where she like paws at him like a cat, and it says in the script like hits his nose like a cat or something like that, but it describes it as such as a cat. So it's like they do that a lot of trying to, because dragons don't exist, So
what?
we need to
Wait, whoa, hold on. No.
what?
No.
Oh, okay. So sorry. Dragons have gone extinct, so we don't know what they
No.
are like anymore. So we're trying to get a sense of familiarity of trying to make them like animals that we see, more regularly, and trying to relate them to something we already know. So like a lion, like a cat, like, all of these other animals, just make it more real.
I'm sure that helps with the animation, like just
Oh,
a
yeah.
reference.
Yeah, and that's probably another reason why they do it.
All right, cool. Well, thumbs up for How to Train Your Dragon 3. Go watch it.
Yeah, I'll have to watch it. I'll have to watch the
Yeah.
other two first.
Graham hasn't watched it yet? Any
No.
of
They
them?
have to be on.
I watched the first one.
They have to be on some sort of streaming site, right? I would assume.
I believe that they are all available on Netflix. I believe, and Netflix owns the rights to How to Train Your Dragon. That's how they got the series made.
Oh yeah,
They
sure.
own the rights.
Well, because they have some sort of partnership with DreamWorks. We know that because all of their animated shows are made, or a lot of their animated shows are made by DreamWorks.
Mm.
Right.
Yep.
Anything else
Cool.
can be said about the script before we wrap up?
Who introed, Ashley?
Yeah, it was me.
It's all you, boo.
So much defeat.
Like getting called on by the teacher.
So, guys, this has been an episode of New Script on the Block, and it was the segment Before the Scene. You can find other episodes of Before the Scene on SoundCloud, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. I think that's it.
Yep.
Also,
Yep.
like us on Facebook, go to our Instagram, all the social medias. We're there.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, bye.
All right, cut.